Yo, Benny! I don't think he's home, man. Benny, man, yo. Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm MC Savant from the Cankersaurs. You can catch me on funnyordie.com/Cankersaurs, K-A-N-K-S-O-R-Z, you know what I'm saying? But right now, it's all about Benny TV. Yo, because my boy Benny the Gagoots got his own show. And I just want to give a big shout out to Benny. And in honor of that, I'm going to do a dope-ass freestyle, man. So he's got to figure out what rhymes with Benny. 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 What rhymes with Benny? Benny. What rhymes with Benny? Benny. He's in the Serengeti. He's hunting for a Yeti and he's always on the ready. And Benny's always merry when he's eating his spaghetti. But right now he's in the desert, so his palms are kind of sweaty. His good friend Freddie, he brought him that Ben and Jerry. And Yetis, they love the Ben and Jerry. So Benny caught that Yeti and we all threw confetti. Yeah, Benny. Benny TV, baby.
Yeah, Benny TV, baby.
Yeah.
Benny TV. Very special. I'm your host, Benny Rizzuti, with your host, Ryan Rizzuti, and our special guest host, Rudy.
Woo! Rudy and the Rizzutis in the house.
Rudy and the Rizzutis.
There you go.
Is that-
R&R.
It's like Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Very true.
And I'm already R&R, so I'm Ryan Rizzuti, so
That's
we're all
cool.
over the place.
Your initials are RR.
They are.
They're both RR.
Well, actually, mine's RB. But
No,
it's
his
okay.
RB.
RB.
Well, I'll be R
Rudy
just for you.
Breedy.
He's
It's
R&B.
okay.
R&B.
I'm R&R, he's R&B.
There you go.
So Rudy has a. So moving right along. Before I talk about Rudy, I do want to say tonight's show is going to be a show about. We're going to talk about graphic novels. So that's what we're going to talk about. But before we
For
talk
all the
about,
people who actually watch my show and have no clue what that is, what exactly is a graphic novel?
we're going to explain that. in
Okay,
a few
because there's a
minutes.
lot of uninformed people. Hi, fans. I love
I
you.
have a video that we're
Okay.
going to show, but first, Rudy has a great show here on Wednesday nights called Rudy's Room.
Are you allowed to say it's great?
I enjoy it.
No, it's
Okay.
an excellent show.
What? Thank you. There's some people here at this network that wouldn't agree with that. It might be in the back run on the board, but that's okay.
I happen to like the show. I think that it's a
Educational.
It's a very educational,
It's very
sophisticated-
educational.
That's right.
sophisticated and fun talk show. I've been on it.
Inspiring,
Right,
uplifting.
inspiring, yes,
Yes.
very inspiring.
Some might say it's worthy of being on the History Channel.
There you go. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, what history though we're talking about?
Listen, it doesn't,
It doesn't matter. History's a broad term.
So tell us a little bit about.
Basically, it's a 1 hour
yourself.
show devoted to pop culture, entertainment, a little celebrity news, fun and foolishness. The idea is to just be the break in the day, 1 hour. Make you laugh, you know. The world is way too serious these days, so just try to have a little fun.
And it's live here at Strong
right.
Island Television on Wednesday nights.
That's right.
10 to
o'clock.
11.
You
10
got
o'clock.
it. Past my bedtime, but it's okay.
I know, past mine. I was on
Oh.
it. I happened to be on vacation that week.
See, you were good.
So-
yeah, I have to
Oh,
take
I
a
had a
disco
lot.
nap right before the show, and then I wake up. It's really, then I pass out afterwards. So.
And then intermittent naps throughout the next
Throughout the day, and then the whole next day, my Thursdays are shot. It's like, forget it. I'm at my real job, and I'm like dozing out. But anyway,
Yeah, you have a real job?
I do have a real job.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, see, there you go. Yeah, this
So,
doesn't pay the bills.
as do I.
Yes.
We all work real jobs.
That's
and then
right.
we have a lot of fun, and we put a lot into our shows.
Yes,
we
yes,
do
we
a lot. We
Do a lot for our shows.
We do a lot for our shows
Yes,
and for
you
our
do.
dads.
Good save, Benny. Good save. Good
So
save.
anyway, what is a graphic novel? Here's a little video that could be an introduction to what tonight's show is going to be all
Okay.
about. So here we go. Let's roll the video. Okay, you're watching Benny TV. Tonight's show is about graphic novels. So that little video I put together is, I want to mention a few things. I am on a Facebook page called Comic Book Nerds United.
Okay.
And it's a fun page. There are a lot of great people. And I said, because I don't know as many, Ryan knows a lot more graphic novels than I do.
Okay.
Some of the ones I read were like from 20 years ago, too. So I wrote, what are your favorite graphic novels? And so the people on Comic Book Nerds United gave me that list of most of them.
Okay.
Of most of them. And I have a few of them here. I Kill Giants, which Ryan lent me. I'm going to read it.
Okay.
Blankets. You can get some of these in the library, too. Blankets. And one of the administrators wrote to me and said, why don't you, are you going to mention about movies with graphic novels? And
Yeah.
of course, you can't talk about graphic novels without talking about films.
Absolutely.
And what is a graphic novel exactly? What do you?
Why don't you tell us?
Well, we had a conversation, and you were saying that they are a trade paperback, and some of them I will agree. Some graphic novels are actually a comic book series
Okay.
that is later put into a collection and called a graphic because it's one story. It's a series that deals with one particular the Dark Knight Returns,
Right.
The Watchmen
Yep.
are, and then some of them are not. Some of them Blankets, which seems to be a popular one on that fan page that I was on.
Yeah.
Blankets it tells you right in the beginning. It says an illustrated novel by Craig Thompson.
Okay.
So Blankets is actually a novel in illustrated form, and in that video actually. So it's an illustrated, and when you read it, it really is. It's like a novel. Cardboard that I showed. That's another.
That's another just straight graphic novel.
Straight graphic novel. So
Okay.
there are some straight graphic novels. Then there are a lot of comic book series that are put into them. So all the Marvel, the
Yep.
Black Panther,
Absolutely.
I have the Spider-Man when he got the suit that became Venom.
Yes.
That was a series.
Yes.
And I have that.
Okay.
But then there are some, I showed Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
And some people are wondering what that Planet of the Apes Visionaries, that's new. It came out, I ordered it. I'm getting a copy to read. That is Rod Serling's original draft of, Rod Serling was one of the writers who wrote, that they asked to write the screenplay for Planet of the Apes.
Yep. Okay.
His screenplay is very different, except I guess we could give the spoiler alert. The ending is taken from that screenplay. So the
Yeah.
ending of
They took the ending and then they changed
Okay.
good majority of everything else.
Okay.
so now someone came. The comic book companies are doing some great things. This is a different medium now.
Yeah.
So they could take a screenplay. So they took that So the original screenplay is now a graphic novel.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and they said it's very different.
Really?
It's very. And then Harlan Ellison that you saw Demon with a Glass Hand. There's a few. That's from an Outer Limits episode
Oh,
that
wow.
he wrote back in the '60s.
Okay.
Which with Robert Culp.
Yeah.
Where he wakes up and he has a glass hand and it's missing fingers. Every time he puts a finger on it, he learns a little more about himself and what's going on. They made that into a graphic novel. That's a really good graphic novel. And then I learned another graphic novel that just came out because Harlan Ellison passed away. So Harlan Ellison wrote for the Batman TV series. He wrote a screenplay for Two-Face. So they were going to have Two-Face, but then the network felt that it was a little too brutal. It was a little too for the television show.
Right.
So now that's coming out in graphic novel.
Amazing.
So you can find that.
Pretty cool. Now, do you have a favorite graphic novel?
I don't know. I have a few that I like to read. I do love The Dark Knight Returns.
Okay.
With where Batman and some of that was taken for the Dark Knight stuff was taken for the the Christopher Nolan trilogy.
Yeah.
There's some stuff in that, especially the last one, The Dark Knight Rises.
Right. Okay.
Borrows from that. I like that.
Okay.
And I love Green Lantern Emerald Dawn,
Oh wow.
which is an early one,
Yeah.
an old one.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the first graphic novels I read because you gave it to me to read, and that was. I love Green Lantern, and that was my real my real introduction to Green Lantern, and it really is like the movie, the Green Lantern movie, the very bad one with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
That's the main story of Abin Sur coming and him getting the ring.
Right.
That is Emerald Dawn.
Okay.
So like the basis of Green Lantern as people know it is from that story.
Okay.
They've
Okay.
changed it, of course, as
Yeah.
comics do.
Of course.
They've
Right,
changed
right.
it a lot in the
Okay.
past, but that is the basis of the story.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And now, Ryan, do you have a favorite graphic novel?
I do. Now, it does kind of depend what you mean by graphic novel, because my dad alluded to Trades, which was a name that escaped me earlier. And, well, with trade paperbacks and graphic novels, there's a lot of graphic novels where it's multiple issues of an arc or a story, or maybe just a long-running comic, and then people consider it a graphic novel. Like, people consider Preacher a graphic novel, and Why the Last Man. Some people consider those graphic novels, but they're really long-running series.
Right. Okay.
Like if I had a graphic novel that was my favorite, it would probably be Why the Last Man if you considered it a graphic novel, but that's multiple volumes.
Okay.
So it's more what you consider a graphic
If
novel.
I considered that a graphic novel, why would it be your favorite? Or one of your favorites?
Why the Last Man is one of the best stories I've ever seen in a comic, and it's so perfect for a show, and it's actually FX just announced it's going to be a show with Diane Lane and a huge cast, and it's the story of every man in the entire world suddenly dies, except for one man and his pet male monkey.
Okay.
And it's exactly as ridiculous as it sounds when it starts off.
Yeah.
And the revelations and stuff is even more ridiculous, and then it becomes a road trip throughout the world with this man, a special agent who is a strong, I forget the exact number, it's like Agent 55 or 52, and it's a strong black woman who is amazing and is an amazing character, and then a Asian American doctor who's female. And it's a predominantly female story, multi-ethnic, extremely great story. And just the way that they pull things in, like they talk about, they go to memorials and people are crying for all the stars that they've lost, and then there's people that were like a typical like what they consider like a woman on like a TV show or something where they're just sleeping with all these guys. They have a character like that who's like, every man I've ever known is gone. And how do I go from that? And they grow these characters, and it's a great way to have strong female characters, which is something you really didn't see in comics for the longest time. And it's it's a white male lead is the main character, but everything else is so beyond the norm of a comic book or a story. And just a lot of the stuff they go into it, there's these long arcs that would work for a whole season of a show. Like there's a spaceship that's landing, and there's 3 people in the spaceship, and 2 of them are men.
Oh wow. Okay.
So they don't know what would happen with that, and then it's the scientist is trying to create a cure, and is following around with Yorick Brown is the character's name, and he's following him around because it's like, you're alive. Why are you alive? I need to find out why you're alive. And it does sound cartoony, but it's very realistic. And just the way the characters work, I think the show will be very different because they cast Diane Lane in a role that is a prominent role. It's the character's mom, who she was like secretary of like agriculture or something. But because she was highest up on the totem pole, she's the president now because everybody else is dead.
Gotcha.
And she's the one. She's like, I'm going to put a special agent in charge of you because my son somehow is still alive. And that character is a prominent character, but only in the very beginning of the book, and then shows up sporadically. But they cast Diane Lane, so obviously she's going to be a very prominent character. And so I'm very interested to see what they do with that. But that's probably one of my favorites. Preacher, if you consider Preacher, a graphic novel, which is really more of a long-running series, which is a TV show on AMC.
Correct, which is good.
Is very different, but very similar at the same time.
Okay.
I'd say it's nutty. The comic book's a lot nuttier.
Okay. Do you like the TV series?
I do like the TV series. I haven't kept up with it. I'm still in the second season.
Gotcha.
It's, I think, going into season 4 now.
I think so. Okay.
But I've only seen the first 2 seasons, and I liked it. But the first season's almost like a supplement to the comic.
Okay.
It's like all the stuff that happens before the comic.
Gotcha.
And then they kind of changed it up, but I like what they did with it.
Okay, so you were happy with the adaptation for the most
I am
part.
happy with the adaptation, so
Okay.
that's one of those things. And then another one of my favorites is V for Vendetta,
That was a great movie.
which
I
is
loved
right
it.
here.
Yes.
It's a great movie. There's a lot of stuff added in this.
Okay, now I never read the novel, so I actually saw the movie. So what would you say were some of the changes? And I'm sure some of these folks saw it. The
A
movie.
lot. I would say it's a lot darker.
Okay.
And there's a lot of things that they had in here that I guess they thought wouldn't work in a movie, which is surprising for all the stuff that they did have.
Right.
And like a lot of the themes there's a lot more of the themes
Okay.
of the characters.
Okay. Excellent.
So, but I love them. That's an amazing movie adaptation to me, and for some reason Alan Moore didn't want to put his name on it for some reason or another.
Creative, I'm sure.
Now, Rudy, do you read graphic novels? Have you ever read
Not as many as I like. There are a few that I've actually checked out. Like I didn't even realize that 300 was considered a graphic novel. And I actually saw the movie, and then I actually read that one, and I thought that was actually really interesting. And then obviously the superhero one, stuff like that. So yeah, so the Spider-Man,
Miller,
Venom,
yeah.
So those were amazing to me. Now, so you said V for Vendetta, you would consider a graphic novel?
Yes.
Okay. And are there any others that are among your favorites?
There's a long list. Well, Watchmen, which is one of the most famous graphic novels out there, is an amazing story, and I like most of the movie more.
Okay.
I think there's a couple of things they could have changed, mostly in the pants that Dr. Manhattan doesn't wear department.
Well, yeah, no.
Yeah. Everybody brings that up with that movie. That's a
Because there's
shame.
more of it in the movie than there is in the comic. And that's just kind of weird. But then they made some changes with the ending, because in the graphic novel, instead of in the movie, it's Dr. Manhattan that supposedly causes these explosions.
Yeah.
In the graphic novel, Ozymandias creates giant octopus monsters.
Right.
Which doesn't really make sense.
Well,
and
you know, it's better in the movie.
yeah. There's a comic series that's kind of a graphic novel out right now, which is a crossover between the DC universe and the Watchmen universe crossing over.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And it's called Doomsday Clock.
I had no idea.
And it's ongoing still. I don't think it's ended yet. It's been going on for like a year and a half. It's
Okay.
But it's only going to be like 9 or 10 issues, and then they'll eventually condense that into a trade paperback, which most people will consider a graphic novel.
So you said it's a combo of the DC and the Watchmen. So which
It's
characters,
DC,
like DC characters, are in?
So it started with they did a DC Rebirth where they do every couple of years they'll redo all their characters.
Yeah.
But what they did was somehow it was Dr. Manhattan that caused this to happen.
Okay.
He caused the rebirth.
Gotcha.
And they used Wally West was gone for a long time in the comics, The Flash.
Yep.
And they brought him back.
Okay.
And they used that, and the Rebirth first launch comic ends with Batman picking up the button with the blood on it.
Oh, wow.
And you can find it online. It's a really great photo of
Okay.
Batman holding the button.
Yeah.
And I haven't read the whole new comic, but they have a new Rorschach now, because it's a continuation. It's after it takes place, and it's and it follows the comic where it's people after the octopus attack.
Okay.
And they quickly realize that this was created by Ozymandias,
Okay.
and people hate him, so his plan didn't actually work.
Gotcha.
And it goes more into that, and there's new characters, and
Okay.
there's characters that come back, but then there's a new Rorschach, and
Right.
you have to see that, and then there's Batman comes in, and Flash, and
I want to
Superman.
read that. I haven't
That
read
sounds
it.
amazing. Now, Benny, so obviously you've, back in the day, read a lot of graphic novels. What do you
Right.
think about the ones, say, back then versus the ones coming out now?
I felt back then it was just beginning. There wasn't really there wasn't really a graphic novel back then. Back then you read comic books.
Okay.
They said comics were for kids, but adults were reading them too.
Yeah.
And then I have a picture. I have 2 pictures of what I read. What they used to do was, like, if you read Green Lantern, or Frankenstein first.
Oh, cool.
Classics Illustrated.
Okay.
So before graphic novels, you could get comic books of classic novels, and you could, of all different kinds of, Gone with the Wind, they would do.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
The Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
I read the Frankenstein. That was my introduction. I read that comic.
Okay.
Frankenstein. I was thinking of the Mutiny on the Bounty.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of great. They did a lot of great class. So that was before the graphic novel. Was this,
Okay.
and then there's another one, Green Lantern.
Okay.
Now this was known as a quarterly. So what this would be like 4 different stories.
Okay.
Sometimes anywhere from 3 to 5 stories because
Yes.
and of different people, Batman, Superman,
Okay.
Lois Lane,
Yep.
you know, and I would read those, and that was so. I guess comic books then. We're talking about 60s to 70s.
Yeah.
Then they started realizing, hey, if we take these, if we write a series,
Right.
put it together, and form a book out of it,
Right.
then it became a graphic novel. And then, because then when I was buying comic books, even this one here, this Green Lantern, they weren't comic book stores. That came out in the 70s. I was
Really?
Yeah,
I
really.
did not know that. Okay.
I was buying my comics in like a luncheonette, like the soda shop,
Okay.
and stuff
Okay.
that they joke about. Those things
Did
really
you get an egg
existed.
cream while you were at it?
They made
Egg
egg cream,
creams? Okay,
and
there you
I
go.
would have egg cream.
There you go. All right.
And so that's where I would buy my comic books.
Okay.
In stores like that, and the luncheonette, in like a 5 and dime
Yeah, yeah,
stores.
yeah. Okay.
That's where you got your comic books.
Okay.
And then stores started opening up, I'd say, in the early 70s.
Okay, gotcha.
Started getting comic book stores, and then they got into the graphic novels.
Gotcha. Did you really buy the comic book, or did you read it in the store?
No, I bought them.
Okay, just checking.
I bought them, and believe it or not, I would ride my bike home, and I would actually.
You didn't walk 10 miles through the snow?
No,
Okay.
a couple of miles.
In a
though.
ditch.
Right? With a broken leg.
With a broken leg.
And I would
Carrying
read
his
them.
best
I would-
friend.
Yeah.
See, I didn't
Covered
read them
in mud.
Exactly.
I didn't read them in the store because I love to own them.
Gotcha.
I like to have them, and I would read them on the way home.
Yeah, okay.
And then
I
you
love
read them
that.
again. And then
Yeah,
you
read them again.
Okay.
And there's a few people that are saying hello to us, and there's Daniel Wolf wrote,
Hey.
graphic novels are also incredible ways to bring reluctant readers in the middle school years to reading.
Daniel would know. He's in the Department of Education, so.
Oh, see?
See, and hello to Julie Monteiro Johnson.
Oh, hello,
from
Julia
Cape
Montero
Cod.
Johnson from Cape Cod.
From
Yes.
Cape Cod.
Yes.
So, but that's the one thing. Comic books are they were invented. I don't think that's the right word, but they are an American art form.
Gotcha.
Comic books came from this country, not from other countries.
Okay.
They came from the United States. So we started them, and there were a lot of people like Neil Adams, a famous writer, who say that we're missing the boat, that we could use it for education.
Okay.
That what we wound up doing with the graphic novel is now it's become it's an entertainment form that is much easier. You were talking about how difficult it's going to be for Y: The Last Man, that it's going to be a little difficult. But I feel that adapting a movie from a graphic novel or a comic book is a lot easier for some people in film.
It is and it isn't. It really depends on the filmmaker.
Okay.
One of my favorite graphic novel to movie adaptations is a movie that is big with my generation, which is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Oh, yeah.
Which
okay.
is directed by Edgar Wright.
Okay.
And that is that's a graphic novel, but that's again one of those things where it was a long volume. They do that now where they'll release them as single issues. The most money they can make.
Okay. Yeah, well.
Why not? They deserve.
Yeah.
You know, comic book writers and artists work very hard, so they deserve the money.
Right.
More than some people.
Love
But they did an amazing job. But they did change things as they do.
Right.
But Edgar Wright's sensibilities as a filmmaker, where he's a very show not tell filmmaker. He doesn't.
Okay.
He shows you everything. He shows you each individual thing on a
Okay.
character.
Right.
He will show you how they tie their shoelaces. He'll do a lot of matching action cuts.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff like that. He's big on that.
Right.
That sensibilities work perfect in a comic book, and he kind of played into that. And it's a comic book that's supposed to feel like the world of a video game. And he plays that perfectly, and it has, slide cuts, and characters will curse, and their mouths will be bleeped, and there'll be characters that fly, and when they punch, there'll be like a bam or a pow, and because it's a video game, when you beat somebody in a fight, they burst into coins.
That's hysterical.
And it's great, and depending on how rich you are, more coins will come out.
And we're talking about Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
I couldn't get into it, but
it's more of a thing with my generation. That's why I
because the video game probably.
Because the video game aspect.
Okay, gotcha.
My dad, I don't really see this comparison, but I understand what he means with the generational thing. He says it's like his generation with Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay.
With how Rocky Horror Picture Show is perceived, where they understand why it has it, but the other generation, the old generation, doesn't really understand it as much. I think it's the same aspect. It's the same sort of thing.
I could buy that. Are there any graphic novels that you either wish they had not made into movies, or you feel that they just should not even try? Because it just wouldn't translate, in your opinion?
There's a couple. It's tough to say because you'll say one, oh, that's not possible, and then they do it.
Okay.
There's one that's currently becoming a movie, I believe, an animated movie.
Okay.
And it's a comic book called Chew, and it's made by Image Comics, which is run by Tom McFarlane.
Oh,
famous
cool.
comic artist.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's the story of, it's a world where meat has gone, you can't really eat meat anymore.
Oh.
It's like a mad cow disease sort of thing.
Okay.
And this guy has this power where anything he chews, he can see how it died, what happened to it. So this guy can't really eat anything. He only eats beets. And he solves murders by finding the body, and then he chews on the body.
Oh my God.
Okay.
And it's like a whole underground world. And they are currently making this an animated movie with David Tennant and Steven Yeun from who was Glenn in Walking Dead.
Yeah.
He's going to be the main character.
The chewer.
And I have some friends that are really into that comic that I probably butchered certain things. I only read the first volume.
Yeah.
But it's a very interesting comic. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Okay. Gotcha.
But I don't know how you can make that into animated. Is the only way I think you can do it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do it in live action. That doesn't work as a live action, even animated though. And I think that's why they announced it a few years ago.
Okay.
And animation takes a long time,
right.
but you haven't really heard anything since.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe the people financing the movie went, "Wait, this is what I'm paying for?"
Right. Yeah.
He's eating that guy.
I want to see how they market that. That's going to be interesting. I mean, clearly not a family picture, but okay.
No, not a family picture at all.
Now, since you are a filmmaker, though,
yes.
Do you consider that if you read a graphic novel, because I know if you read something, you're always looking at the film aspect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you're reading a graphic novel, isn't that like a storyboard?
It is.
It
is. And I do have the rare distinction of learning screenwriting from a comic book writer.
Oh, wow.
My teacher at Five Towns College was my screenwriting teacher was Patrick Shand.
Okay.
Pat Shand, who he wrote Charmed. He wrote for Xenoscope Entertainment. He wrote Robin Hood. He wrote the Van Helsing character that's now a show on Sci-Fi.
Wow.
And he writes a lot of really great independent stories now in graphic novels. He did teach at Five Towns.
That's amazing.
Not anymore.
Listen.
He was a teacher. I had some really awesome teachers at Five Towns. He's one of them.
So cool.
I still have him on Facebook. Maybe one day he'll watch this.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I love the guy, and he does a lot of self-finance comics now on Kickstarter. He does Kickstarter comics, and he's very good at it. He's very successful, and I always try to donate, but he has some really great comics too.
Amazing.
And I think he's always said that he kind of does it in mind for like almost like a storyboard. But I think even he knows that people are going to change it because it is a storyboard, but someone's always going to try to make it in their own image.
Gotcha.
And they're going to take Hollywood does that anyway.
Yeah.
They take a story and they add characters that don't exist because they feel that character will help you.
Yeah,
watching
right. But
watching the movie.
And he makes characters that are perfect for a TV show or a movie. Like he's a character called Prison Witch, which is a witch in prison. Yeah. And he has this really awesome comic called Destiny NY or Destiny New York.
Okay.
And it's a world of people who are the fulfillers of prophecies. and they go to like a school for like they're prophesized they're gonna do this, they're gonna defeat this great evil, they're gonna do this.
So like they can just see the future.
It's like a magical world. No, someone has prophesized about them. Like they're like they're all Harry Potter.
Gotcha.
It's a school in which everyone is Harry Potter. Everyone is the boy who lived.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
And it's a great story, and he does a lot of fantastic things with the characters, and he's very female-centric writer, very female-heavy cast, and he knows how to write women better than I think I ever will.
Okay.
And he writes these so well that somebody eventually, I think one day these things will be adapted.
Yeah.
And I think the only person that should adapt them is him, but that doesn't always happen.
No, that's
And
true.
there are always times where somebody will adapt something of their own and it doesn't work, but then there's always times where it does work very well.
True.
And we've seen it a lot in books, and we've seen it in comic books a little bit.
Okay.
But that's a big question of the adaptation. The adaptation with anything.
Yeah.
I want to bring up one then, Batman.
Yeah.
We'll go to Now, when Tim Burton made the first Batman movie with Michael Keaton, he had the Killing Joke with him, and he wanted to do the Killing Joke, but it was too brutal. It was considered too brutal to make for the first Batman movie. And if you know anything about it, you know the story.
Yeah, I do.
So then years later, they made
for the benefit of those, a quick synopsis of the Killing Joke, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Okay. Is the Joker escapes again? He goes to a dilapidated what is that? Carnival.
Yeah, it's
he takes over a carnival.
Right.
Amusement park, whatever works.
Yeah.
He goes to Gordon's house. He captures Gordon. He shoots Barbara Gordon in the stomach, and then he takes pictures of Barbara Gordon naked and makes her father, Commissioner Gordon, ride through the funhouse and shows the pictures of Barbara.
Right.
And then Batman and the reason it's called the Killing Joke, because the Joker is only captioned in the beginning of it telling a joke. And they end, when Batman captures him, they end with a joke. And when Batman captures him, he's so infuriated, and Commissioner Gordon says, "We're doing this by the book. Don't, because I know you want to kill him.
Yeah.
But we're doing this by the book." And then
and it's the origin of the Joker. It's Alan Moore's origin.
Yes, that's right. I forgot that. So this story that's going on now is where he captures.
Is intercut with the origin of the Joker.
With the origin of the Joker, which, since we know very little about the Joker, where it's we still don't know if that's really the origin because years later with new stories. But anyway, what I'm getting at with that is Ryan and I they finally made it into an animated movie.
Okay.
So they made The Killing Joke into an animated movie and showed it in the theater. And we went to see it in the theater. And we had seen some guys on a podcast talking about it. I feel that they did, as far as the graphic novel part, they did a great job.
They did a fantastic job.
They did a fantastic job. But some writer, as Ryan was saying, that it's not necessarily the writer that wrote the graphic novel.
It wasn't the writer that wrote the graphic novel.
Decided
it was not.
Decided that they had to make it longer.
It is it's a very short graphic novel. Right. You can read it in a half hour, 45 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. So they added to it. Did you see the animated?
I did not see the animated.
Okay, the animated it's like incongruous. Is that the word? It's like it's Batman with Batgirl. So okay, I told you Barbara Gordon, she's Batgirl.
Yeah.
But it's a story with Batman and Batgirl that really is not connected at all.
Right.
To the story. It's the villain isn't even the Joker in it.
Right.
So it's like they just grafted on this 20-minute beginning. That,
for no reason. That's a love story between Batgirl and Batman.
Right.
Where the big thing that upset fans is there's a sex scene between Batgirl and Batman. Right.
Yeah, that upset me.
That has nothing to do. I would be okay with it if it connected to the Killing Joke in any way.
Right.
But it really doesn't. It just kind of seems like they just threw it on and tacked on. They say it's connected, but it's not really connected.
Well, it was probably their method for trying to bring more people in to actually see the film by having the romance aspect of it.
Exactly. But it kind of that's the storyline in which, in The Killing Joke, Barbara Gordon gets shot and she then becomes paralyzed and becomes the Oracle.
Correct.
So instead of showing this really cool, empowering stuff with Batgirl in the beginning, you show her falling for Batman and having sex with him, and then she's like hung up on it. And they show her working in a library with like her gay best friend,
Right.
like a romantic comedy, and she's like lamenting about it, but she's not saying Batman. She's like, this guy that I see at night, and it seems like Reese Witherspoon should be in it, and not. It doesn't fit in the world of Batman.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And Ryan and I had agreed afterwards that if they had shown, if it was the two of them and the Joker. And they show how they lock up because, as I said, Batman goes to Arkham Asylum to see and the Joker has escaped.
Okay.
So if they would have led that, the first 20 minutes is Batgirl and Batman putting him, locking him up. And they didn't have to have the love. The love scene really, it takes away from Batgirl.
Okay.
I feel.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I feel like it weakens her character. It doesn't make her look like a strong character.
Okay.
That all she's doing is thinking about how she's in love with Batman. And,
No, it's
too much.
When that one came out, it was 2017. But we're in a day and age where you can't have these characters that worked. Writing a female character like that was in the 70s and the 80s.
Right.
Women are strong. Write a strong female character. That's like one of the reasons why I love Y: The Last Man is there's strong characters from every background.
Absolutely.
Even a monkey.
Right.
And he has a lot of stuff about him. You care about that
I
monkey.
want
damn
to
it.
read it.
There you go.
You can.
There's a lot of volume, so I'm like, if you want it, you want to buy it, I'll read it again. Because I haven't read it since I was like 15.
That's so funny.
Patronize your local comic book stores.
Patronize?
Patronize. What is it?
It's actually patronize. Patronize is a bad thing.
So
you could.
patronize is the right thing.
It is.
Go to your local comic book store. They will order it for you. Y: The Last Man.
There you go.
They'll order that for
What
you.
is your local comic book store? Do you know?
Yes. Next Generation Comics.
Okay.
Yes, Next Generation Comics, right down the road. I
Right
go
down
there
the
all
road.
the time.
There you go.
And we
Sponsor
go
the
there.
show.
Ryan goes there all the time. Next
That's right.
Generation. And they've got. I've spoken to them. I was calling them up and saying, "Do you have this? Do you?" And we can order it for you, sir.
Okay.
But I wanted it for tonight's
Oh
show.
yeah, no,
Very cool.
Dan and Michael order anything you want. If
Okay.
you did like anytime. One time, another graphic novel that came out that was written by Chuck Palahniuk was Chuck Palahniuk was the writer of Fight Club.
Okay.
He wrote Fight Club 2 as a graphic novel.
Oh wow.
And it kind of more follows the movie, I feel like, than the book, even though he says it's a sequel to the book.
Okay.
The characters kind of look like Edward Norton and Brad Pitt as close as they can without having to pay the money.
Of course.
But it's a continuation of Fight Club, and he's going to make a Fight Club 3. So he's continuing them in graphic novel form, which also has happened in TV shows.
Okay.
Which Fight Club 2, if you like Fight Club, definitely Fight Club 2 I would highly recommend.
Okay.
Well, something
And
like
I went to them and they ordered it for me, so that's good to
and
know.
something like Serenity, which was a TV show, right?
The TV show was Firefly.
Firefly.
And then it
Oh,
became,
okay.
that's Nathan Fillion
Gotcha.
and Morena Baccarin.
Okay.
It was then it
and
became the
It
movie
became the movie Serenity.
Serenity,
Okay.
which is the name of the ship.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Is it?
And
So
it's written by Joss Whedon. He was the creator.
Yep. Buffy
And-
the Vampire Slayer.
Exactly.
There
Buffy
you
the
go.
Vampire Slayer, Angel.
and a lot of people love that show, even though it didn't last long.
Yeah.
So the books are doing well, right?
Yeah, no, the books do amazingly well. There's
And there's a
multiple
graphic-
sequels. Some take place during the show, some take place before. And most of them have some sort of involvement with someone from the Whedon family.
Okay.
Whether it's Joss Whedon or his brother Zach Whedon, who was also involved with the show.
Oh, I didn't know his brother was involved. Okay.
Yeah, his brother was also involved. So
Okay.
somebody is usually involved with those comics, but those comics are incredible if you're a fan of that story, which is to me my favorite non-Star Wars story. It's that Guardians of the Galaxy and Star Wars.
It's a great story. Now, Rudy, you were asking
Wait,
me.
why is Star Wars at the bottom?
Well, no, that's just in general. That
okay.
wasn't
I was
ranking.
all right,
that
I
wasn't my. No, that's why I said it was my favorite non-Star Wars. Star Wars. That
Gotcha.
wasn't a ranking. That was just those
Okay.
three of my favorites.
Well,
That wasn't a
Star
particular
Wars is
order.
on the bottom.
Oh,
Yes.
why?
Okay. I don't consider.
He doesn't like the new ones.
No, but no. I enjoyed the.
You like Solo?
Not
Well,
Solo.
nobody likes
I didn't
Solo.
Nobody likes Solo.
The other one there, the other standalone
Rogue
movie,
One?
Rogue One.
I liked Rogue One.
People liked it.
It was on yesterday.
No, and I like the Force Awakens.
Yes.
And the other, I like them, but I don't consider them science fiction. You know, a lot of people. No, I don't. I consider Star Trek more science fiction.
Okay, I could see that.
All right.
All right.
And
As
Star
far-
Trek's also continued in comics now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star
It's
Trek.
also,
Okay.
and they, because that's a great way of continuing it with characters you can't do anymore.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so they do a lot of stuff like that.
Okay.
And they do crossovers, and one of them kind of full circle with what we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They do Star Trek crossover with Planet of the Apes now.
I didn't know that.
And with
They
Green
also,
Lantern.
well, they do Planet of the Apes and Green Lantern,
yeah.
where one of the apes gets a ring.
Okay.
He gets a lantern ring.
Right.
And so, but Star Trek and Planet of the Apes is very interesting.
And I consider Star Trek more because one thing about science fiction, there's character driven.
Yeah.
So the Star Trek characters have a lot more depth to them than the Star Wars.
They're a bit more developed, so
and a
yes.
lot of the hardware, like Star Wars, is kind of a Western. They've got blasters. They're shooting. It's a little bit of Robin Hood, Errol
Okay.
Flynn, Robin Hood, where real science fiction, things that they talked about in science fiction may happen years later. Star Trek had the doors. You walked up. We have them now.
Yes, they
Yes.
do exist.
They walked around with communicators. We walk around with communicators.
In that case,
Okay.
Power Rangers was ahead of the curve.
There you go.
Hi, Anita.
You got a lot of people on there. Who else is there?
Johnny McDonald.
right.
Hey, Johnny McDonald, how you doing?
All right.
Rick Gusamano,
Uh-huh.
Tom Raimondi,
Nice.
even Ryan Rizzuto's watching.
Look at that.
Am I?
Very cool. Very, very cool. Any of those folks out there, if you have a favorite graphic novel, please
Yeah,
post on the
please
page.
do.
We'd love to hear about it. Look
We'd
at
love
that.
to. Now-
So, do you have a least favorite? Is there one that you're like,
I don't know. I can't really say. I've never met a graphic novel I didn't like.
Did you? What about you, Ryan?
No, I like comic. No.
The ones that I don't like, I don't finish.
Okay.
So that's usually the
All right.
distinction.
Okay.
It's not with a show, it'll be like, oh, it's getting so bad, but I got to see how it ends.
Okay.
It doesn't really happen for me with graphic novels. If I don't
Okay.
like it, I'm just like, I'm not really getting pulled in.
Okay.
So I don't feel a need to finish
Yeah,
it.
Is there
so
one
I
that
can't
you
think of
picked
it.
up that you're like, this is going to be good, and then you just couldn't get through it?
It's happened every now and then. Some of them I can't really remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
But it does happen. But
Yeah.
usually I'll know by like 20 pages.
Okay.
If I like it or not. And
Okay.
there are times where you look at the cover.
Gotcha.
And the cover's much better than the idea.
Okay.
But it happens, but not as much.
Okay.
But it does happen.
Gotcha.
I think, but I think graphic novels have become more sophisticated now. The artwork. When I was younger, I talked about that before.
Yeah.
The paper was different too.
Yes.
It was like
much nicer paper.
Yeah, it
now.
was
yeah.
crappy
Glossy.
paper.
Okay, gotcha.
So sometimes the ink was absorbed. You couldn't really.
Right.
Yeah, this
It
is
was-
like more of the older paper.
The older
Gotcha.
paper, but
yeah. Whereas now, isn't it almost like magazine paper?
Yeah.
Now it's-
Yeah,
It's
now-
really slick.
These don't really have
Yeah.
the magazine.
How much does a graphic
This
novel
doesn't.
usually cost?
It depends on the graphic novel.
Okay.
Because like some, like this one's probably like 15 or 10.
Wow.
$10.
And that one's probably 15 or 20.
this is 10.
Wow.
That's 10.
All right, but
oh,
I'm-
you want to know why? This one's 10.
Yeah.
Because it's volume 1, and all the other volumes are 15.
Okay.
Oh, so
So that's how they get you.
Got it.
That's
All right.
another great one. That's Valiant
what
Comics.
would be
That's
like
Harbin.
an-
I'm
in your-
glad you brought that up
Yeah, go ahead,
because
That one is hefty.
this one is in the. I got it from the library.
Okay.
I went to a bookstore and saw it. Was going to buy it.
Yeah.
In the United, it's $29.95,
$29.95.
And this one is 20.
and that's
Wow.
For I
20.
Kill Giants, which is also a movie which I haven't seen. It's on Hulu.
Okay.
I Kill Giants.
Do they make like graphic novels on tape? Like a book on tape?
You can get them digital.
You can get them digital, but I
Okay.
don't think you can get them on tape. But you
Okay.
can get them like on your phone. You
Okay.
can get them. DC has their own app now.
Yes, I saw
and
that, yeah.
The app comes with comic books.
Okay.
You can get comic books and graphic novels and stuff. You can get them right on your phone.
But like they're not narrated, but like
Not
James Earl Jones
narrated.
or anything, right?
I think they have some. You can find like they make like audiobooks that are comic characters they write specifically for audiobooks.
Okay.
You can never really get one that's exactly a graphic novel.
Okay,
But they
gotcha.
have like I know they have like a audiobook of like a Wolverine story.
Oh, that's
all
cool.
right.
Done.
Okay.
But it's an audiobook and they have
Gotcha.
somebody voicing Wolverine
Okay.
and they have stuff like that,
Okay.
but not exactly what you mean.
Gotcha. Now, you two work a lot. Where do you find the time to read all these? Because I can't even get to
I
the
get
supermarket.
downtime.
Okay.
It's usually after work.
Okay.
My
All right.
boss is watching the show. So it's
What about you, Benny
All right.
TV?
What,
When do you find the time to read?
I don't have the time to read as much as I used to.
Okay.
You know, I really don't. I want to stay away from the television a lot.
Oh.
And my
Aren't you on the television?
from watching.
Oh, okay.
You know what
just
happens?
saying.
The
That's
TV
usually what I do at home. I'll put on the
That's about-
TV and then
Yeah.
I'll grab. I have a giant shelf of graphic novels I haven't finished.
Ryan
Okay.
has gotten me 2 regular books, and he likes to get me big.
Yeah,
thick-
last year, a year or two. I gotta get a lot of use out of it.
So he
There's
got
no
me
point in getting a little pamphlet.
a couple of
point.
a couple of books that were
Okay.
you know, big books, but so
Big words
but
or just big books?
No, big book. And he
Okay.
got me a graphic.
Not big words.
Not big
He
words.
got me
okay.
2 graphic novels, which are very cool. He got me he got me the Deadpool, Night of the Living Deadpool.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
And this is really cool. Francis Coppola's Dracula movie.
Yeah.
That's a graphic novel. That's
It was
like,
made in concurrent with the movie, but then went out of print and got very popular
Oh, wow.
because the artist that did it was Mike Mignola, who is the artist behind Hellboy.
Yeah.
And he did it, and it went out of print for a long time, and they just reprinted it as a hardcover graphic novel.
So he got it.
And
was-
I got it because my dad's such a big fan
Yeah.
of that film.
I love that
To the point,
Dracula.
I watched
think
it
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the first time in October because my dad really wanted me to watch it.
Okay.
And I got that for him for Christmas, and that was inexpensive. That was like a $25, $30 graphic
That's
novel. And it's a
amazing.
big,
Yeah.
hardcover, like
Okay.
thick graphic
Yeah,
novel.
That's pretty
that's a
cool.
really nice.
Very cool.
So
And it's the whole
you got-
movie.
Gotcha.
So I got to read that. I find sometimes I could read comics and graphic novels
Okay.
a lot faster,
Faster,
than.
okay.
Also,
regular.
it depends. Like this would take you a couple nights.
Right.
I could finish this in like 2 hours.
Wow.
I have 2 volumes of this. I can
Gotcha.
finish this quickly.
Okay, so just uninterrupted, you can get through that in 2 hours, which
Yes.
is cool. How do you guys preserve yours? Like, do you have a special section at home? Is
I
it
have a
like-
shelf.
Okay.
But some still get like I don't know how
Yeah.
this one kind of got warped a little bit.
Right, with like the little
but
dog ears and all that stuff.
Yeah.
How do you- okay. All right, what about you, Benny?
I put them in boxes after a while, or
And put
I
them
have-
in bags.
Yeah.
bags.
With the
The comic
boards.
books I put in
Okay.
bags.
Okay.
Because I still have some comics from when I was young.
No
And,
way.
Yeah, but a few
Your
of
mom
them I
didn't throw
got
them
the-
away like other people?
No, some did,
judgment.
but then you can find them now thanks to
Yeah.
thanks to the internet and stuff.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I was a big fan of the Challenges of the Unknown,
Which one's
which
that?
was a Jack Kirby
Okay.
created. There were 4 guys that were in a plane crash. They didn't die, and the plane was destroyed.
Okay.
They were living on borrowed time.
Okay.
So they live on bar, and so it's the adventures of these 4 guys, and they were the first comic book group to kill off a character.
Oh.
And this was like late 60s.
Right.
They killed off Red Ryan, one of their characters.
Okay.
They were the first ones to do that, and I have that Taps for Red,
Okay.
and I still have that issue.
Is Red really dead, or did he come back like the
He
Phoenix
did come
and all
back.
that?
They all come back.
Okay,
They all come back.
Yeah,
Nobody
exactly.
dies.
Okay.
Except Uncle Ben.
Oh yeah.
Uncle Ben's
True.
the only one. Uncle
Yeah,
He's still
Uncle
dead.
Ben didn't-
He just he
Uncle
didn't
Ben,
make it.
because you can't even say Bruce Wayne's parents anymore because they came back in Flashpoint.
Oh, they did.
Good
yeah.
point.
They came
Yeah.
back in Flashpoint where
Yeah.
it was the universe in which Bruce died.
Uncle Ben is Spider-Man for those of you who
Yes,
are wondering.
Spider-Man. He's the
Yeah.
man. He's the man with the spider.
Yes.
Yeah, Uncle Ben, right? He's the only.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Flashpoint's the story in which Flash goes back in time, and it's
Mm-hmm.
an alternate universe where Bruce Wayne died in the alley, and his parents lived, and his dad became Batman, and his mom became the Joker.
Oh. Interesting.
Yes, it's a very
Very interesting twist.
interesting. And
Okay.
his dad is a Batman who kills, and he has
Oh,
guns.
that's cool.
So he's
Okay.
very different.
That is cool.
Nowadays they do the alternate universes.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Big on the alternate
They're
universe.
big on the alternate
multiverse.
because they could. Now you can expand the
Right.
characters, the stories.
Yeah.
They even did it really with Star Trek when they the reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they did was remember with the Romulans and the time.
Yeah.
So they got Spock, a new Spock and Kirk. They
Right.
got. So they can do that now. And when I was younger, I would read a story sometimes, and I read a story where Superboy lost his powers because of one particular kryptonite. I think it was gold kryptonite.
Okay.
He lost his powers forever. He was no longer super.
Yeah.
And then at the end, a little caption at the end says, "This was an imaginary tale." So they used to do these imaginary tales.
Okay.
And I have one, I just located another one from my youth. I located it with Lois Lane dating this really ugly looking man, and it's like, and she's dressed all hot with the midi skirt.
Okay.
And what is she doing with this ugly guy? And then you find out that she became blind. She married Superman.
Okay.
He married her. They had a daughter. She had superpowers. He went out to rescue some people on a ship, and the Navy. And the ship had different kryptonite.
Okay.
And he died. He disappeared. You never found him.
Okay.
Many years later, she's on the beach, and this ugly hunchback type of guy comes, and she falls in love with him, doesn't know he's disfigured because she's blind.
Okay.
And then, of course, the Supergirl daughter meets these aliens. They give her this wand that will it could cure your mom's blindness.
Oh.
Cures mom's blindness. She finds out that the guy is
Unfortunate looking.
unfortunate looking, and of course, who is he?
It's Superman all along.
Wow.
All disfigured from the different kryptonite.
I didn't even read that. I just
Look at that.
assumed.
You just plot twist. There you go.
And then he got mad when they knew who he. And Lois is like, "But I still love you," and he flew away. He went to his Fortress of Solitude, and he flew away.
Okay.
And then I found out since then that when they did the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I think they did another.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now that has become an alternate universe
Yes.
Superman. So it started out, that was an imaginary tale.
Right.
So it ended with and now all these years later, that is another Superman
Yes.
now.
That's pretty cool.
A disfigured hunchback of
Listen, takes all
Hunchback
kinds.
of Notre Dame Superman. Anyway, I had other videos I wanted to show, but I had so
sorry.
much fun.
Sorry.
No. I'm saying
Well,
Unfortunately, we're out of time.
we're out of time.
well, there you go.
You've been watching Benny TV with the hosts Ryan Rizzuti and Rudy Breedy
Triple R.
from Triple R from Rudy's Room tomorrow night, 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Right here at
Strong
Strong
Island
Island
TV.
Television.
And before we go, because some people watching are new viewers, what does your shirt say? Because I think it's hysterical.
Our shirts say Rizzuti, American made from the finest Italian parts.
And
love it.
Rick said that he loved the shirts.
Oh, yeah?
On
There
the
you
chat. And Rick also said that I better be not reading comic books at work.
There you go.
Rick, where would I find the time? I'm too busy making amazing videos.
There you go.
Everybody subscribe to Eating Evolved on YouTube. Everybody follow us on Instagram, Eating Evolved on Instagram.
Yep.
We're going to have a lot of awesome videos coming out. Some may be made by me. Some will be made by people that are just as amazing as me. And I'll have involvement, maybe. Who knows? But every video is going to be the best video you've ever seen in the realm of awesome videos. When it comes to awesome recipes, we're going to do awesome videos. They're going to be great. We're going to do product stuff. We're going to do some amazing stuff on there. So everybody
Love it.
go on there and take a look at that.
Check it out.
You know,
Yeah,
so
check it out.
I plug,
Check it out.
Eating Evolved, yeah.
I plug my day job.
Yes.
And go to Generation X Comics on
Next Generation Comics.
Next
Generation X Comics is what you would call your comic book shop.
Next Generation Comics on Colton Avenue in East
Look it
Iceland.
up. It's on the
You're
internet.
doing a great job. And Rudy's Room on Wednesdays.
Wednesday nights, do me a favor, like and share this episode of Benny TV. Let's make it go viral, folks.
Rudy, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
being
my
on
friends.
the show. I hope
Love
you
it.
come back.
I will always come back.
All right.
You have water.
Thank you for watching Benny TV. Have a great week,
you,
everybody.
folks.
Don't
Have a
forget,
great
Tuesday,
one.
tomorrow night.
Wednesday. Tonight's
Wednesday.
Tuesday.
Oh, my God, I'm really
Just
off.
don't leave Strong Island TV.
Just stay on here.
Stay here.
Yeah, because you got another fun
Stay
show.
here.
There's a fun show coming right
You
now.
want to laugh? Stick around. Good night, folks.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.